what did you take away from Notley's performance today?
Well, I think she was most effective on the economy when she empathized with the plight of the economy. And I think one of the things that the NDP did wrong in the first 2-3 years of their term is they kept going around saying the economy is great, look at the aggregate statistics, you know, pat ourselves on the back. And while that was true, a lot of people weren't feeling that the economy was good. And so in saying that, you know, the recovery is tough, people are hurting, I understand where Albertans are coming from, I feel them. I mean, that, I think, you know, it might be a little bit late in the game now for her to establish that connection, but at least she is more on side with what Albertans are feeling.
Let's talk about tone a little bit. Whose tone came off as a leader? I mean, we don't always like to say somebody seems like a leader, but had that presence that to guide us through turbulent times, because that's where Alberta is right now.
Well, Notley was definitely the most polished. She was consistent. She didn't seem to get too rattled. Jason Kenney was as or better than Notley in terms of how composed he was, as long as they were talking about the economy, as long as they were talking about the traditional issues of strength of the UCP. As soon as it got to any of the social issues, you could hear his voice just start to halt, just to start to stutter a little bit, and I think it really showed that, you know, this is something which the UCP is weak on, and he knows they're weak on that. And that nervousness around those social issues and the social conservatism and the bozo eruptions in the UCP really showed in his voice any time that the debate went there.
Absolutely. All right, let's find out what voters had to say about this. Let's head back to Crystal Laderas.
We're here at the Calgary Central Library talking to voters, some university students, some representing some organizations across the city. It has been a very divisive campaign here, and I know we had just been speaking about this. What do you think about what just happened in the debate? Was it mainly arguments, or could you hear policy through all of that?
I think someone had brought this up before. It's a lot of convoluted policy, and a lot of the debate was focused around really attacking the other party and sort of, you know, manipulating the message rather than focusing on their own policy. I think there were some good spots for each person to sort of talk about certain policy points that are important to everybody. I think that David Kahn did incredibly well with the healthcare debate. I think people should start talking about that more often, because if we're so worried about balancing the budget, it is the largest budget line, and for some reason it doesn't seem to top voter priority. And I think for social issues, it was important to see that, you know, there are a majority of people that believe in sort of supporting marginalized communities, and then there is one party that isn't able to sort of reconcile with the past, and not just the past, you know, 30 years ago when we're talking about the Jason Kenney's youth. We're talking about a week ago, we're talking about 2 weeks ago, we're talking about 3 days ago, we're talking about 5 years ago. This is a consistent pattern and a record, and this was an opportunity to reconcile.
We're going to just go back to Tara in studio in Calgary.